Joining us now with more, Angeline Hartman from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, as well as psychotherapist Robi Ludwig. So, Angeline, as I understand it, the tip that actually led to this discovery came into you at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and then you passed it on to police. Is that correct?
Yes, so we have a 24-hour call center, as you know. That's what we're here for. People call us every day, throughout the day, with tips. Sometimes they know about a missing child, sometimes they're not sure, sometimes it's a person who says, I don't know my own identity. In this case, this was a caller who said, I think I have information about a child, a baby who was abducted from a hospital many years ago. So that person had a conversation with our call center specialist, and of course we took down the information and contacted law enforcement and went from there. This is a really, really good day at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
That may be an understatement, actually. As I understand it, too, one of the challenges in this case is not just, of course, how an infant would change over time and what this young woman would look like, but as I understand it, there hadn't been a picture taken of her when she was born, so they had to go off of composites for the last 18 years. How does that work, and how do those change?
Exactly. So in this case, the child was just a few hours old, so there was no picture taken. And of course, it was a different time back then. You're talking about 18 years ago when the process was moving along much more slowly, when they were taking pictures at hospitals. So there was no original picture. And then from that, but we do know there were family members and there were hospital personnel. And so our sketch artists here from the National Center went down to Jacksonville, Florida, went to the hospital and talked directly with those people and created the composite sketch of the infant along with the suspect. So there are a lot of pieces to put together, and with those little details, that's all they've had to go on all of these years.
It is remarkable then that we are at this point today, and this is what we are talking about. Robi, as we look at this young woman who we'll continue to call Kamaya, we don't know the name that she was raised under, and even if we did, I think we would let her have her privacy. She needs that time right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, her head must be spinning.
Yeah, she must be so confused as to her identity. She must have divided loyalty issues at this time. So what she needs is time to process everything that's happened to her, because she is a crime victim, and I think it's really important for everyone to realize that, and hopefully people will give her the time and space she needs to get to know her biological parent and to understand her story, because she's going to need to weave it into the entirety of her life to make sense of who she is.
And is that something that needs to happen on her time? Because we can imagine her biological mother, I'm sure all you want as a parent is to hold your child in your arms.
Right.
And yet, does this need to come, in fact, from her daughter instead?
Well, I think the biological mother needs to understand that it will be a process for her daughter, because this is new information for her daughter in a way that it's not new information for the biological parent. And the best thing a biological parent can do at this time is basically to say, I understand this must be so confusing for you and that you don't know me even though I've loved you for years and dreamed of this moment for years. But then to understand that a child needs time to process it. She is 18 years old, so I think that adds to the confusion, because it's a time of life where teenagers are really pulling away from their parents and saying, who am I? So this girl has a lot of, unusual questions to answer.
Well, and I know, Angeline, this is one of the things that you do there at the center. Your involvement does not end when a child is found, but I know that you work with families to get through this next period, correct?
Thank you, Erica. So thank you so much for saying that. Yes, at the National Center, we work on these cases, not only when the child is missing, but in the periods afterwards. And for, there are many aspects. There's a lot of things that are happening at the same time, a lot of moving parts. And we try to be involved as much as we can and support the families and law enforcement, the communities as a whole. You have to understand, like you were saying, this child grew up with this particular identity, and now she's learning that her world is upside down. She's learning a lot. I just want to say that her case, as you know, is not isolated. Right now, the National Center is dealing with 4 other infant cases where these are babies that were abducted from hospitals. And so we've been tracking that since 1983. And so Up until today, there were 5 cases, right? Now it's down to 4. But there are 4 other families that are waiting and hoping to have a day like today.
Well, let's hope that the next time we speak with you, it will be because one of those family does, in fact, have one of these days. Angeline Hartman, Robi Ludwig, appreciate you both joining us today. Thank you.